Now we're going to be exploring more of the effects tab, because DaVinci Resolve is a software which has so many cool inbuilt effects that you don't need to be a crazy animation expert. So let's start with the effects tab here on the left hand corner on the top. So if I click that, I would have a lot of effects option here. So if I go in the toolbox, then there's a video transition. So video transition is something where there is a transition when you move from one clips to another. So most of the time video transition should be applied in between two clips. Something like here, in between two, something like here. So that's where video transition should be applied. So additive dissolve, and I would really recommend you to play around with this. So it's just like moving from one clip to another, and you don't even have to bring the transition to the clips. If you just drag on the transition and sort of move like that, it would already show you how the transition would look like. Let's check blur, dissolve. You see, so you don't really have to drag and drop every time. Smooth cut. If I just drag and drop smooth cut, and if I just zoom in, so here is the transition, yeah? And if you just go here, the cursor changes into this icon, and you can change the length of the transition. So if you go like this, then the transition is for a little bit longer.
You'll spend the night at the hut and hopefully enjoy the views of the Altanap Towers, which is lit.
It's gonna lag a little bit because it's a little bit taxing on the system.
The night at the hut and hopefully enjoy the views of the Altanap Towers.
Or you can also make it really short.
And hopefully enjoy the views of the Altanap.
You see, so just with one click, you can already get a really cool transition. And if you want to delete it, just click it. So right now it's not selected. Right now it's selected, and then you press delete. So delete for me is X, and there are so many cool transitions in Resolve. So just try it out, play around with that. I like some transitions which are in Fusion. So there is some block glitch. I use it. I know I don't use block glitch. I use camera shake. So I use this a lot. So camera shake can go. So you see, if you drag and drop anywhere else, it's not going to work. If you have to drag and drop in the beginning and end of some clips.
Enjoy the views of the Altanap. The views of the.
So now if it's not really working smooth for you, you can switch to the proxy files. So what I would do is just prefer proxies. That's what you should do.
Enjoy the views of the Altanap Tower.
So yeah, you can play around with transitions. There's nothing crazy about that. There's nothing technical. I don't want to waste your time by trying each one of them. So yeah, those were transitions. And what you can also do is that you can do two transitions on the same clip. For example, let's go here. And if I want to do the camera shake, where was it? The camera shake transition. And if you want to put another transition, let's say, so you see in some transitions, if this message comes, then which means that it's not allowed in the free version, which I'm using right now. But later I'll show you some cool effects in the paid one. So yeah. As soon as you drag around it, the message already appears. Maybe I want to do burn away as well. But if I do burn away again, then the burn away transition stays, but the other one disappears. So what is the solution for that? Let's go to camera shake again.
We'll spend the night.
There is something called as clip compounding. So what happens there is that, so there is a transition here and there are two different clips. So I would select everything and then I would right click and go to new compound clip. So what compound clip does is that you can do a mixture of two clips or any number of clips. And if you make them a compound clip, I just do test 1. So then here there are still two clips, 1 and 2, but this whole clip becomes one clip. This is telling the software that I'm just one clip with two different clips inside. So whatever settings you're going to put on this now, it would act as if it's just a single clip. So what we can do is that we can make another cut here, because I think this is the cut where we did cut the other parts. And then we can put another transition. So if we just go the burn away, So there would be camera shake and burn away at the same
Trails
time.
to the shuffler hut. We'll spend the
You
night.
see? So yeah, you can do again a transition and again a transition. So yeah, that's the compound clip. And if I want to make this entire sequence as one clip, you can do again compound clip. And compound clip is really useful if you want to put one setting to the entire videos. So yeah, that's when compound clip is used. After the transitions, we have some titles. So DaVinci already has a lot of title samples which you can just insert in your videos, and yeah, it just looks like super animated titles. I think some of them are also in studio version. So these are the sample titles, but if you go to Fusion titles, they would be a little bit animated. So if you see this, you see, so dark box text, the text comes up, glitch. Let's just try this one. And I'm just checking if there is another interesting one. But yeah, you can just try out so many. There's an elegant shadow. There's the newest edition. There's a fade on. I think they use a lot of times like something like this in movies. Just for the sake of this class, I would do
Today we are
the...
hiking one of the most beautiful trails to the...
You see, now it's getting a...
Today we are hiking one of...
hanging a little bit. So what I would do, I would go here, prefer proxies. And then what I would also do is the timeline resolution to half, and hopefully now it shouldn't hang.
With taking Swiss Alps in the Appenzell region. Today we are hiking one of the most beautiful trails to the...
Still hanging.
Today we are hiking one of the most beautiful trails.
But I think it's fine. And here what you can do, you can change the text of the title. So if you go on the right hand side by selecting the title, this is the digital glitch, the name of the title. So you can change the text here. So we can do DaVinci class. And you can change the font as well. So it really depends on what font you like. You can also change the color. You can change it to extra bold, light. So it really depends on what font you have in your system. And you can change the size. You can also change the distance between the font. You can change the line spacing. If there are fonts in 2 lines, you can change the line spacing. There's a lot of things you can do. And then here we can do just test. So yeah, there's like all these fonts are super customizable, which are in titles. But sometimes if you just want to use a normal title, this is the normal title option. So just a general title looks like this. So if I just do, say, DaVinci Resolve 19, you can change the font like what I discussed before. And of course you can change the colors. So these colors options can come like this or like this or like this. So you have different types of color option. I have chosen my favorite one. So if you go here, or if you go here, whatever, say if I really like this color, I can just drag and drop here. So next time you don't have to search for those colors. You can just click here, that's the color. So this is the color what I want, or this is the color what I want. And of course you can use the size and the distance between the font. And what I told before, you can also keyframe these fonts. So that's also really handy. Change the rotation angle. Yeah, change all the properties. Then stroke is the border of the font. So you see, it becomes black stroke. I don't really like it, but yeah, it's really up to you. So I would just refresh it. Drop shadows I really like. So this sort of brings a little bit of shadow under the text. So you can go Y, in the shadow would drop down. And if you go X, the shadow would go, this way. So you can put the shadow in whatever angle you want. And you can change the blurriness of this shadow. So if I go all the way here, the shadow is proper solid. If I go all the way here, the shadow becomes a little bit more blur. And then background. So if someone wants a background behind the title, you can change the width. So width, you can change it is with the, so this is the height, how you can change. And then if you go to Y center, you can scroll it up. X you don't need to, and then you can reduce the width. So you can, by this way, you can also add backgrounds to the text. And you see the corner radius, it's a little bit curved. You can make it more curved, or you can make it a proper rectangle. And center is how you can change the position of the background. And opacity is if you go 100, the blacks are super black. If you go 0, it's a bit low, so I would just maybe keep it to somewhere around 50. These are things you can do with the text. I would also show you how to animate the text, but yeah, this one is a new feature as well. Sample.
End up doing the CLC. We might end up doing a skinny.
And you can also put some video transitions also on the text. So I would go to video transition and you can put any transition you want, but now it would show for the video. But if I go here, the elastic rubber, and if I just put it on the title box, so this is the sample title box. So you see if I disable the track, it's gone.
We might end up doing a skin. We might end up doing a skin.
So you see the elastic rubber, it works like that. But if I reduce it,
we might end up doing a skin.
So there are some of these effects that can work on the text as well. So if I do fall and bounce,
we might end up doing a skinny dip in the freezing.
You see how cool it is that it's just there in DaVinci. Like back in the day, people have to animate each step. So yeah, really explore around the video transitions. Whatever is available in the free version, I think that's already so much enough. You can do film strip, like all sort of crazy animations, what you can do. And for the titles, the important title was this text. And of course, you can try it out, all these different titles as well. So all the titles, they have their own preset. And now let's talk about generators. So generators are something like generating another kind of clip on top of the clip. So if I go 10 steps, you can just drag and drop, and that would just have this gray scale. You know, you can already see here. So if even you don't even have to click it, you just scroll the mouse and that would already show in the playhead what is. The one I use it is solid color sometimes. So I'll show you an example. So if I just move this clip like that, and I just got the solid color here. So now you don't see any changes. Just increase. So now you don't see any changes. But if I click this video file, and if I zoom out, then there is a black background. But the original background of this playhead is that. So the black background is coming from the solid color. And as you can see, if I click the solid color, it is black. So you can change to any color you want. So that's when solid color comes handy. You can also have this as a background, you know. You can do grayscale, anything you can do it as a background. You can also put these comic speed lines, that also looks really cool.
Let's see how that goes.
So yeah, these kind of generators, you can put it behind the video or text. So if this text, if it was here, DaVinci Resolve 19, if I drag down the paper.
Hopefully enjoy the views of the Altanab Towers, which is literally right next to the hut.
So yeah, there are so many ways to use these, and they also have this new animations, you know. If you bring it to the video, you can change everything. So
around the CLC, we might
so you can change the text here. So let's do test. So let's do test.
Around the CLC, we might end up doing a skinny dip in the freezing cold water.
You see how smooth it looks? Like how cool is that? I would just drag this. There are so many ways you can introduce text in a video. These are all the newest addition in DaVinci Resolve 19.
It is one of the coolest and non-technical hikes you can.
So if you just click here, then you can change the text. So let's do, yeah. You can just put any text, A, B, C. It's there. And I go A, B, C again. Then I go A, B, C again.
It's one of the coolest and non-technical hikes.
How cool is that to animate that? Like you just have to drag and drop, and it's all free in DaVinci Resolve. Like they're not earning any money from this, and it's so crazy that they just provide us this for free. So yeah, generators, really cool to introduce some text or put some background behind the video. Now let's go to effect. So this is also very similar to how we had the transitions, but all these effects you can do on individual clips. So you cannot do in a gap between two clips, the effects. So if I go just select this clip, you go binoculars, you have binoculars, CCTV, comic book. Some of them might be also for the paid version. So yeah, it's really just try it out and see what is free. voice call, video camera, watermark. So yeah, you can do any of that. So yeah, effects is also really handy. And then if you go open effects, what open effects does is that this is also some sort of animation what you can do on an image. So if I go blur box, if I just drag it on the clip,
let's see how that goes.
The clip becomes a bit blur. But the crazy part is you can also animate it. So you can animate it by increasing the blur or by reducing the blur. So here, say if I do some keyframing in the beginning, if the blur is a little bit less, here the blur, if I want it to be 0,
let's see how that.
And here if the blur I want to be 0.341, then slowly the blur would be introduced in the video.
Let's see how that goes. It is one of the.
And if you want to delete the effect, so all these things in videos you would have video property, but if you go to effects, you would have all the effects whatever you have put on the video. So you should really just try all these effects. Like there is some, you can also draw some grid line, you can get color palettes, HSL, luma keyers, lens flare you can get. I think this is in the paid version. But yeah, you can try all these different open effects. I don't use it much, but if I really have to use it, I would just use the blur or sometimes the zoom blur. But yeah, really play around with that because you wouldn't know that what effects you need until you really use them. Then you're like, oh, I can actually use this effect somewhere. There is also some audio effects. What we are not going to use now, we would use all these effects in the Fairlight tab. So whatever is in the Fairlight tab, some part of it is in here. So, but we're going to use it in the Fairlight tab. So it makes more sense because then we can talk about all the audio tweaking at one go. So I wouldn't discuss the audio effects now. So yeah, these were a lot of effects what you can use in DaVinci. Now let's show you what was the adjustment clip. So adjustment clip is just a clip which you can drag and drop on any clip. This is like a transparent clip. And if I do any changes in this clip, say if I do zoom on the adjustment clip, then the clip underneath adjustment clip also zooms in. And then all the clips under adjustment clips, they also zoom in. You see? They zoom here. If I get rid of it, you see this was before, this is after. So any change what you want to do at the adjustment clip, you can do it here. If you want to crop from the top, you know, like how the film bars, you can do it on adjustment clip. That's what a lot of people do as well. They do crop for the entire timeline. We're not going to do that now. We're going to do something else. Adjustment clip would also be really handy when we are color grading, but we're going to talk about that later. Now, let's talk about something really important.